Another question that I have been wondering about is this. Has working with the blind and low vision population within your museums really changed your individual definitions of exactly what perception is? And then, have you found that your definition, your personal definition has been changed? Have you found that this changes the way that you present art to other populations, for instance, a sighted group?
Yes, shortly. For me personally, as actually a practicing artist, I began working in accessibility programs 2.5 years ago, actually, and it essentially completely changed my practice as an artist. Thinking about even working with a fully sighted audience, but understanding what people are bringing to a work of art, or trying to understand, talking about what people are experiencing, and creating forums where they feel like they are comfortable enough to share their experiences. That for me has definitely trickled into my own practice. And I began as a photographer, but I've moved into a lot of different sort of performative things. And I also, a part of my job, I'm not just work in access programs of the Guggenheim. We split with adult programs, and that technically falls with public programs, and that we do things like anything that is in the museum, like on the walls, the wall label size, the tours that are offered, the gallery guides who are our security guards, and educators who are posted through the galleries. We're training everyone on the frontline staff to be able to provide verbal descriptions and really be able to accommodate this population and everyone, because I think adding these sorts of layers in the gallery experience helps everybody. And that is definitely something I'm sure almost everyone here will agree. Everyone's shaking their head. What we learn from working with different groups of people facilitates learning for everyone and creates a nice, inclusive environment.
I definitely have to agree with everything Olivia just said. I couldn't have said it any better. And as far as myself as an educator, I have to say the things that I have seen in works of art that I have worked with hundreds and hundreds of times through a visual description tour, through working with touch objects, I have really come to notice things in paintings that I thought I knew everything about. So it's really changed my own opinions about works of art that I thought I knew very intimately, which has been a really exciting experience for me. Also, I feel like I now have, after working with these sorts of tours for a while, I start to think about objects in a very tactile way, and I do find myself using more kinds of description with all of the audiences I work with. I work with school programs also, and I also work with senior audiences, and everybody benefits from this sort of description because it's something that's so powerful. Just the idea of what things do feel like, whether or not you can touch them, really does resonate with everyone. And I think one of the greatest things about the way that these programs have really trickled down throughout our institution is all of our school programs educators are now starting to use the objects and techniques that we have created for our access programs, because they've really found that they work so well with all audiences. So we keep coming into the museum and finding them gone because someone else has taken them to use in their programs, which is fantastic.
I love nothing more than to ask my fully sighted drawing students to close their eyes and draw through touch. That's been my most epiphanic moment, is to discover how much better my own drawings and my sighted students' drawings are when they're not looking, but experiencing through alternate forms of perception. So, say if I'm left-handed, I'm drawing with my left hand and I'm touching an object literally simultaneously with my right hand. And for myself as an artist, even before I worked at the Met, I used to trick myself into seeing things or experiencing things anew. My favorite thing was to draw things or paint things that were upside down so that I didn't understand or recognize the form. And I think an extension of that is to do it through touch. It's another way of reinventing the familiar. I think it's amazing. What I've learned through the Met programs has influenced my teaching of fully sighted students and my own work.
I agree with that completely. And I also have a greater understanding of sense of space around a person, and as an artist, when I'm teaching my drawing classes, I do a lot of what Pamela does. In fact, I learned a lot of that from Pamela. She even brought that awareness to me more when she brought me into the drawing class that we teach together for people with vision impairments. But I find that sighted students are afraid to move their arms, and our students in our drawing class at the Met with low vision, they move their whole bodies, and they just pour themselves into it, and it's something I'm always hoping to bring to my sighted students. And it's, like Pamela said, one of the ways is to have them touch things or change the material, their drawing tool, to the opposite hand, to let go of this preconceived idea of what it should look like. And so I've learned so much of that from my students, our students in the drawing class at the Met.
I agree with everything everyone said. I think that, yes, by working within certain constraints, you then learn strategies to teach and engage anyone that are just going to benefit anyone, whether they're multisensory or strategies in teaching drawing are beneficial to everyone, absolutely. I think we've all emphasized that or reiterated that amongst ourselves. And I guess I just wanted to add, I have a slightly different perspective, I think, because I was born legally blind, and when I said I wanted to, I always liked to draw, and when I wanted to learn about art history and when I said I wanted to work in a museum, even my vision teacher said, "Aren't you afraid you're going to bump into things?" And I just thought that was such a strange remark, and to me, I felt that because my vision changes, I have to constantly interpret and decipher and analyze what I'm looking at. Isn't that what an art historian does or an artist does when they're looking at works of art or making works of art? It's something that I have to be conscious of as a person who's partially sighted. And so I think that's actually a benefit, frankly. And so that is always, I always have that in mind, and so I've always been interested in different kinds of perception and what we can learn from different types of experiences, whether they're tactile or spatial or making art in a museum or art making